I also good morning, honorable members. Good morning, honorable deputy minister and your team. Good morning, officials from the Department of Land Affairs, if they are here. No. Okay, and I know that we have a delegation from the CIPC. Good morning and welcome. Honorable members, I hope that we all have copies of the agenda. Can we actually have a look at the agenda? We shouldn't have a long meeting today because at some point I'm also expected to join the proceedings of the ad hoc committee. Are there any amendments that members would like to make on the agenda? If not, I would actually recognize the hand for the proposal of the adoption. Honorable Maseko.
Chair, thank you very much. I propose that we adopt the agenda for today.
Thank you. Any second, Honorable Adams?
Chair, I propose the removal of the agenda or the adoption of the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable members, as you can see on the agenda, is basically getting, some feedback on issues related to Ingonyama Trust from SAPS and also from CIPC. In fact, today's meeting is the culmination of the committee's ongoing efforts to ensure accountability and sound governance within the Ingonyama Trust Board and its subsidiary Ingonyama Holdings Pty Ltd. Honorable members will recall that during our oversight visit to Ingonyama Trust Board in February this year, we engaged in an extensive and frank discussion with the board members present. Among the issues discussed were serious allegations of criminal conduct involving former board members, and we were informed that criminal cases had been initiated with the South African Police Services. Excuse me. We also discussed the matter of the 41 million rand seed funding provided by the ITB to establish Ingonyama Holdings. Over time, it became clear that the ITB had lost control of and oversight over the trust subsidiary. This development raises serious governance and accountability concerns. In March 2025, the ITB reported that it had lodged a formal complaint with the CIPC regarding irregular changes to directorships and possible corporate hijacking. Given these developments, the committee has decided to invite representatives from both the CIPC and SAPS to give briefings today. We aim to hear from the CIPC about the actions taken after the complaint from the ITB, the current status of results of the investigation, and reasons for any delays. Similarly, excuse me. Similarly, from the SAPS, we expect an update on the criminal investigations reported by ITB. At the center of today's meeting is the issue of accountability in managing resources held in trust for traditional communities under the KwaZulu-Natal Ingonyama Trust Act. As Parliament, we have a duty to ensure these resources are protected, properly managed, and utilized for the benefit of the communities they are intended for. I thank you, honorable members. So, without any further ado, I will invite the briefing from SAPS, or I will first excuse me, get apologies, if any, and then we will actually ask, before we do anything else, we ask the Deputy Minister to say his remarks.
Good morning, Chairperson. Good morning, honorable members. Chairperson, we've received an apology from Deputy Minister Matale. We have received an apology.
What is that?
Who?
Yeah.
Matabat. Sorry, Chair. The Minister of Police, who is attending the ad hoc today, we've received an apology. We have an apology from Honorable Ndalane and Honorable Van Wyk. Those are the apologies, Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you. They are just for noting. Thank you. May I recognize the hand of Honorable Nkutama?
Thank you, Chair. I express an apology for Honorable Madlala.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Member. May I hand over to the Deputy Minister? Oh, thank you, Honorable Nana.
Thanks, Chairman. Before you hand over to the Deputy Minister, in terms of the agenda, item 1 is the briefing by directors of Ingonyama Holdings. And I am aware that Ingonyama Holdings had written to us expressing an opinion insofar as their attendance is concerned. Can I check if they are here?
Well, thank you, Honorable Member. No, they are not here. We actually had invited them, and we were going to get to the point where we will actually give a formal report on actually why they are not here, because they did write a letter, longish though. They did actually tender their apologies, but actually wrote us a letter explaining their position, even though we actually have a different view, but we will discuss that after the presentation. So, I'm sorry that I did not. I should have actually started by, explaining that. So there will be a slight change in that. We will actually deal with that item at the end of this meeting. Thank you. May I please hand over to the Honorable Deputy Minister? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Morning to you, morning to committee members and everybody present here. I don't have comments beyond requesting the acting DNC for Detective Lieutenant General Sintumule, who is leading the delegation to present the issues and request the relevant people to fill in on what. Okay. I was saying, Chair, thank you. I will request the head of the delegation from SAPS, General Sintumule, who's the acting Deputy National Commissioner Crime Detection, to lead in the presentation and request the relevant officers to fill in on the issues that we are presenting. Thanks, and through you, General Sintumule, please.
Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you. Over to you, General.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Good morning to yourself. Good morning to the honorable members. And also I recognize the Deputy Minister and all the colleagues who are with us today. Chairperson, I am going to allow Brigadier Maponya, who is the section head for commercial crimes in the DPCI, to lead the presentation. But before she on the 3 cases that are under investigation by Maponya to take us through. Thank you very much.
Morning, Chairperson, morning, honorable members. I just want to acknowledge our DM and all colleagues in the room. Next slide. We are here to present about the status of the 3 cases that are investigated.
I'm not sure whether your Brigadier, your mic is actually working, because usually these meetings get recorded, so we want to make sure that the mics are actually working.
I don't know, I'm checking. Am I audible enough now?
Yeah, you are.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairperson.
Is there anyone helping with the operation of the laptop? So that
It's connected, Chair.
is it connected?
Yes,
But is
someone
there any?
needs to-
So someone needs to come and sit here
Yes.
and.
Yes, so that you can charge this last one. Yes, they are locked.
Yes, Honorable Mkhakho?
Whilst we were still organizing ourselves, I thought Chair would start by introducing ourselves so that we know who is in this room. I see many new faces here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Honorable Mkhakha. This is a very, very important point. We normally take for granted that we know each other when we don't. I'm Albert Mwango, the chairperson of this portfolio committee. I will ask members of honorable members to introduce themselves, starting with Honorable Maseko.
Colleagues, good morning. My name is Matlodi Maseko, and I'm the member of this portfolio committee. Thank you.
My name is Mlindi Nana, member of this committee.
Good morning. My name is Rachel Adams. I'm a member of this committee.
Sylvia Isaacs, same.
Good morning. My name is Sam Matthias. Thank you.
Dumelang, Andile Mutam.
Morning, Zwelakhe Mthethwa, member of the Portfolio Committee.
Morning, Wanda Mahlatsi.
Thank you, honorable members. Perhaps the general can introduce, or the deputy minister can introduce his team.
I'm Kasal Matale, Deputy Minister.
I'm General Sintumule, the acting head for crime detection in the SAPS. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. I'm Brigadier Maponya from DPCI, Serious Commercial Crime Investigation Component. Thank you.
Thanks, Chair. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Zuma from DPCI Anti-Corruption.
Yes. The CIPC.
Morning, members. My name is Rory Waller. I'm from the CIPC.
Good morning, members. My name is Vianney Ngotla from CIPC.
Good morning, members. My name is Bulelani Simani from Parliament Legal Services.
Then we have our support team of this committee, led by the committee secretary, Loazi Ben, and the content advisor, Dr. Manense. Thank you. I think we know one another now. And I can just warn that there are heads of criminal detection in this meeting. So we must behave. Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Member. Over to you, Brigadier. Sorry for that interjection. It was important. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. I'm asking permission to proceed as I've already greeted. Thank you, Chairperson. The reason for us to be here is that our acting minister received acting police minister received an invitation that we must come and deliver the status of the cases that are investigated by the SAPS. So within the SAPS, there are two entities that are investigating the Ingonyama Trust Board investigations, the SAPS detectives and the Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation, which is the DPCI. So currently we are only having 3 cases, of which 2 are investigated by the SAPS, and then 1 is investigated by the DPCI. So without any waste of time, my computer operator, can we go to the next slide? I already passed that slide. Thank you. The first case, it will be now of Alexandra Road, where an offense is theft. This matter is still under investigation. This is a matter where the Ingonyama Trust Board files were stolen. They were stolen in which way? The files were allegedly removed from the registry by one of the employees there, complying with the instructions of one Miss Ellis, who is very close to the person of interest. Both files relate to the person of interest, and then even today, those files are still missing. In the other matter, the person of interest company owes a substantial amount of money, which is now elaborated in those missing files. Like I indicated, this matter is still under investigation, and so far 3 statements has been obtained. The second case is an Alexandra Road case again, which is also investigated by the detective services. The first one is also investigated by the detective services. This one here is where the IT network and systems were compromised. The charge there was attempted cybercrime. I'm saying was because at some point the prosecutor declined to prosecute on this matter. Hence, there is only one statement, the statement of the complainant. So this is what happened when the IT specialist reported at work in June this year. He discovered that the system was compromised. They couldn't have access to the system at Ingonyama Trust Board. That is when he urgently went now to open a case in this matter. So after the prosecutor went through the case docket, an investigation was completed. The case was declined prosecution on 2025 October this year, because the prosecutor indicated that there was no breach of anything that took place there. So the case, in a nutshell, was opened as a precaution on the attempt that was done. The third case is investigated by DPCI. Is an inquiry 1 of 3/2023. The charge is fraud and corruption, of which the potential amount is 41,000. 41 million. As investigation is continuing, there's potential of this money to increase. So for now, we are still having a potential of 41 million. The matter is still under investigation. Like I indicated, 45 statements have been obtained so far. So how it came to our attention, it came as a complaint to DPCI, and then the matter was attended because there were irregularities within the funds and the accounts of the Ingonyama Trust Board. Then the CEO opened the case. He's the one who gave us an opening statement. That is when now we had supporting documents and other investigation documents that amounted to 45 documents in the docket statements. So this is the condition. Potential crime where the chairperson potential crime where the chairperson.
Chair, we received the presentation and the presenter is talking about some of the information. Did I miss some pages, or what we received is just this page? And I think she's telling us a story, or unless there's a reason for us not having that information, so that it can make that information might be, it's not, but the presentation that we got is very limited, and what you are saying is a lot that it would have been nice to can have received that information before, unless if maybe I don't have some other pages. Thank you very much.
Honorable Isaac.
I don't know what I've observed is that there is a repetition of the second Alexandra Road case on the presentation and nothing about under the DPCI, but there is not that relevant information. That is what is. I think it's a mistake. It's a genuine mistake in the presentation.
Honorable Deputy.
Slide that talks to the slide that she's talking to, which is a DPCI slide. There might have been a mix-up probably with what you have received there with you, Chair. If we maybe I don't know how we can address this shortcoming. The slide is here, but I see that within that presentation, that slide is not there, Chair.
Well, thank you, Deputy Minister. The Secretary is actually telling me that there was an updated a presentation which was sent in last night, and is busy sending it through to the members now. He probably did not check it. The third one. And here it's the third update. Okay. So let's actually open the third update. I'm sorry for this mix-up.
Yes. I'll send it on WhatsApp.
You send it on WhatsApp?
No, I'll send it on email and WhatsApp.
How long is it going to take?
It's done.
Oh, is it done already? So, honorable members, can you please check your gadgets? It's already there. But that's the third update. You could be having the second.
The second one has the same.
Okay, all right. Okay.
when we engage in such presentations. And I think most of our support members who would be your liaison officers for Parliament wouldn't. We are compromising the identity of who we are looking for. At this age and time where whistleblowing is a problem, where witnesses are facing a huge risk, I think we really then opted to remove the name. The only plea I can make to the House is that as we discount the previous presentations, that also this become more like classified in terms of how we can divulge or how far we can divulge it. Unfortunately, it's an anomaly that happened. DM and myself, we had a briefing with the team yesterday where we asked that we remove actually names, even of those who were interviewed, because if you look at the amounts involved here, the type of crimes here, we don't know what those who are deemed as suspect can do to those people who are willing to testify against them. So that's the reason why the names were removed, and I hope that House can accept and understand that. Thank you very much, Chair.
Well, thank you, General. I think it's understandable. The issue of whistleblowing is a major issue in South Africa these days. So we would need to hamba kahle on such matters. Thank you. I'm not sure whether, General, you also have information that the person you're looking for is also a director of the company in question, Ingonyama Holdings. He's an active director of that company, and perhaps you could also, in your search, cast your net even wider to include that company as well, because they should be having his addresses and things like those. Thank you.
On that one, I think hence I said it could be deliberate that the person has disappeared. But we also are aware of that, and indeed we are casting our net wider. Thank you for the advice, Chair, as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Adams. Honorable Mkhaga, you are on the list.
Thank you, Chair. My questions will be to DPCI. Have the police investigated these land transactions for determine ownership and circumstances of acquisitions of such properties? And then how much money has occurred from such transactions and to whom? And what monies were incurred and by whom? The question that I wanted to ask was the one that the Chair raised now. And then on cybercrime, has the investigation established who was behind the attempt crime, cybercrime? And the last one, why has the DCPI not thoroughly investigated both cases of fraudulent transactions and cyber attack as serious commercial crimes? I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Isaac.
No. Thanks, Chair. I was reluctant to pose this question, but I thought I don't know the boundaries and the limitations. What I thought would be dealing with a finished business here. It's clear that matters that are raised here are still under investigation. However, Chair, there are names that are mentioned, the stolen files. My understanding is that this should be the employees. You're referring to the employees of ITP or whatever. Mr. Teresa has by instruction or alleged instruction from Ms. Ellis. What is the status of these workers now, currently, as you know? As you are investigating, what is their status now? Are they still part of the establishment, or whether internally or externally? Or what is their status now? To Mr. Ngwenya. I'm interested to this name of Ngwenya. But in terms of the organization, what is his status now, Mr. Ngwenya? This Mr. Ngwenya. What is his status now? What do you know about Mr. Ngwenya as SAPS? And I know I'm asking this generic question because I don't know the boundaries and the limitation. But what do you know about Mr. Ngwenya as we are investigating now? There's something that seems to be common in these days, the decline of prostitution. Do you have reasons as to why that prostitution was declined? I'm raising this because investigation is still going on, and there comes this particular aspect of a decline of a prostitution or withdrawal. I'm not sure the difference between withdrawal and decline. Yeah, thanks, sir.
Thank you, Honorable Mkhacha. Honorable Isaac, did you have your hand up? Okay, thank you. Honorable Nyamboso.
Thank you, Chair. I wanted to ask the principle of law that says when a matter is still sub judice, it cannot be discussed. And here we are as a portfolio committee, given the report coming from SAPS, they are saying it is in progress. Now, when a matter is in progress, in law, we are barred from divulging and talking about it exactly on the part of whistleblowing, wherein there are names that are actually implicated, where we still want to pursue the matter. Here we are discussing it. The reason why I'm raising this part, in the ad hoc committee that is ongoing and Madlanga Commission, anything that gets ventilated there, immediately it forms part of news. And then it starts a spiraling effect, action, reaction, on other matters that have nothing to do with what you'll be discussing at that time. So that's why I asked, what is the intention of coming to talk about matters that are still? Because exactly I wanted to say, like Honorable Mkhacha, it would be nice when you say, we investigated and the matter is closed. And this is the progress we're giving you so that you file it as a portfolio committee that in your entity, Ingonyama Trust, the matter is closed. So the matter is not closed. So that's my first query. Number two, I know, I'm from KwaZulu-Natal. I know Ingonyama Trust. And I know a former Judge Ngwenya. We are dealing with a legal eagle here. It's not an ordinary person. So I'm anticipating that you may not be able to succeed because it is police versus legal. And he forms part of the legal fraternity. He is a former judge. And so I'm looking at the manner in which you are investigating this matter and the snake that you are reaching. I can see it through that the reason why you are not winning is because the man you are dealing with is not an ordinary person, meaning you are dealing with somebody who has access to the entire judiciary and he knows how the police function. So he's able to defeat the ends of justice by virtue of him coming from the same fraternity. So, but the matter in question, that is where my interest is. He ruled Ingonyama Trust. He's the longest chairperson of the trust. So he knows everything more than those that are currently in office now. And the stakes are so high that it is about the 2.8 million hectares of land. And he has leased most of the properties to all the 41 million. That is peanuts. The biggest money that is involved here is the leases which were given through the land pockets, of which he is the only person, and those whom he served with, who are in custody of what happened. So when you have files that are missing, it can only
It's the same case like the loss of the state register in 94. Between the Afrikaners, who stole the asset register? The one who was going out or Mandela who was coming in? The answer is obvious. It's exactly the same thing we're dealing with here. The one who's been running, he's the only one who knows what files, where are they? And now we are sitting with a case of missing file. It can't be those who came after him. It would be those who served with him and himself. And your focus, your scope, is so narrow, obviously, because you can only investigate
May I
that which
please
has
ask
been.
the honourable member to narrow his focus onto the presentation that was made and ask questions from there. Because we could be, talking to people who some of the issues they are not actually able to help us on. Okay, can you continue, Nyambos, but focusing on the presentation?
Okay. So I was just giving you a hint to say your processes against the one you're dealing with. You are slow and you are limited, he's more informed. And so I think you need to be up. My question was going to be, don't you have early warning signs, which means that's going to be, don't you have early warning signs, which means that you have a way to be signaled. Why? Because every now and then, police, they always chasing after those who are committing crime, which means those who are committing crime are smarter than the police. So which means in the police system, you do need early warning signs. If you don't have, it's something that we need to fix. And two, we need to integrate the prosecution, the pursuit of cases, and the legal process. Most of the time, police, they are dragging their feet in pursuing matters because they are afraid of the legalities that they may obstruct or defeat the end of justice or tamper with the case. Eventually, then the case is lost. So these things need to run parallel. Those who are investigating a case must be paired with those who are legal minds so that the same time on the spot you investigate a possibility of obstruction of justice or the tampering of the case, because in law, once you tamper with the procedure, you can lose that case. And these are things where police are there always failing on. And it's a legal
Honourable
issue.
Nyambose. I am sorry to do this to you, honourable member. We have a time constraint, and I thought we were going to finish this meeting, earlier than usual. In relation to the questions your comment which you made regarding the matters we are discussing, we invited the SAPS. It was a resolution of this committee to actually invite them so that we could actually hear the progress around these issues, because you will remember we had ITB here on several times now discussing this very, very matter. Now we have a constitutional responsibility to play oversight over that 41 million rand, which actually is Nyambo said that no, we invited them, and it was our resolution that we should actually have this kind of engagement so that we get feedback and an update on the state of things, because these are quite urgent matters. We are aware of who we're dealing with. I know of judges who ended up in jail with all the legal minds and whatever. If you are wrong, you are wrong. And fortunately, judges are not police. They may be legal minds, but they are not policemen. So on that score, they too need to make sure that they're on the right side of the law. Otherwise, they end up wearing shorts lapha in the University of Criminals. Thank you. Honorable Dr. Matlasa.
No, thank you very much, Chairperson. Greetings to the Deputy Minister and greetings to the SAPS. Now, the presentation is welcomed. And Honorable Nyambos covered me on the first question, so I'll just focus on institutional coordination. Now, given that both the Detective Service and the DPCI are involved, how are two entities coordinating their work to avoid duplication, delays, and outcome conflict? Second question, still aligned to that. Who serves as a leading investigator or a case manager across the different entities, and how is accountability ensured? Are there any formal joint investigation protocol or memorandum of understanding governing this collaboration? There's a reason I'm asking these questions, because my concern is the protection of witnesses by being interviewed by different investigators on the same case. And this then opened a gap for intruders in the case to also pose as third investigators who are unknown. That is why in most of the cases you'll hear that people who have retired from police or who are no longer with Directorate came and interviewed witnesses. But the witnesses are not aware, but they are used to being interviewed by different investigators, one from the detective where the case was open and one from the priority crime investigation. And they can create other stories from Hawks and other stories. So I just want to check there on the institutional coordination, because we regard this case, well, as a very important case that relates to Ingonyama Trust. Chairperson.
Thank you.
I submit.
Thank you, Honorable Dr. Matlase. Then the Honorable Matthias, and then Honorable Mukhaga.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair. Our interest is to hear from the police, and greetings to Deputy Minister. Our interest is to get the police telling us that they've made an arrest. As the NCOP. The rest of other things are really not of immediate interest. If the complainant has provided with the information that whether it's on concrete evidence or is on suspicion, police must do the work. I guess the complainant would have provided you with a spreadsheet of what the complainant alleges as losses or theft or infringement of his or her rights. And once such have been provided to the police, police must act. In this case, as an example, there are two companies involved here. Both of them are linked to the former chairperson, whose name has been mentioned here. Zweli Banzi Utilities, which has been involved in some land leases, and money accrued out of such leases have been to his benefit or to the benefit of Zweli Banzi Alternate Utilities. The police should ask the complainant, give us a spreadsheet, or if the spreadsheet is not available because of cyber theft and the documents have been lost, it's something else. To determine what has been lost and the scope of that needed to be investigated. Secondly is on Ingonyama Holdings. The complainant says, we did not give the suspect authority neither the sole trustee, EC, His Majesty, or any of the board members gave permission or authorization to the suspect to establish a company called Ingonyama Holdings, which took with itself an amount of 41 million. What stops the police to go into that space and extract by any means necessary a statement from the suspect, drag the suspect to a courtroom, provide a prosecutor and a magistrate with a court case, and have the suspect explain himself in a courtroom? What kind of a police system is this that engages in negotiations? Those of us who were victims of police in the past had no privilege of being engaged in a gentleman's arrangement through negotiations with suspects, even though we're pursuing a just cause against the system of apartheid. The special branches will just pounce on you, kick you, break your legs, break your arms, and drag you to Fontaine in Bloemfontein. Fontaine Building in Bloemfontein, where it was the headquarters of the special branches, and beat the hell out of you. Sorry for my French. Why can't you do the same?
Point of order, Chairperson.
So let the police do the police work. Thank you so much.
There is a point of order.
I'm done.
Okay. No, I'll leave it there. Because I thought we are still on the report. Eh? Yes, thank you very much.
You have not deviated. I'm raising important points here. And I don't know why the member rises on a point of order when I'm on point. Maybe wants to remind the chair that I'm on point. But I'm done.
You are done. So, Honorable Mkhakha.
Yeah, Chair. Maybe the previous honorable member has partly covered me around this question of arrest. Because I thought there is a clear-cut process in terms of the information submitted to this portfolio committee around Mr. Ngwenya and the development thereof. And therefore, whether it's called a person of interest or what, I'm not sure this person of interest, but I've noted that concept.
Honorable Mkhakha, please speak to the mic.
Okay. Finally, now, this person of interest, and I thought maybe to wait until you conclude the whole case without arrest is going to take years. It's important, this case is important to us because it must unravel a lot that we were told when we visited Ikumkani, Ngapha, KwaZulu-Natal, and those chiefs. It must tell us, it's a case that must unravel what we have been taught and be shared with us, with those communities. And that's why I'm saying it would be a problem if, even on clear-cut cases, it's going to take a lot of time. We should, a collaboration between the judge and the prosecutor, particularly in this case. Already I'm raising the question that the prosecutor has declined. And this is a common phenomenon today, that collaboration would result always to this situation, that there's a collaboration with this old judge who's an old horse in the system and these prosecutors. And surely you'll be having a challenge. But there's no fundi that is beyond the institution of police as a service, irrespective. Now, sub judice matter. I thought, Chair, this is Parliament. And we are a subcommittee. The portfolio committee is a subcommittee of Parliament, meaning we are assuming a parliamentary role when we sit in this fashion. Court made a judgment around the matter of sub judice. I might not have the details, and maybe it's important that our office must bring that judgment. That explains how sub judice should be interpreted by members of Parliament in Parliament. It's unlike a person in the street where you cannot even share information, but in Parliament, because we're a juristic person here, there is a particular definition that has been explained by that judgment that the court passed around this. I'm interested in that, Chair, so that we are not barred in terms of getting information because of this concept of sub judice. Remember, the reason why Parliament was taken to court is because many individuals were hiding behind sub judice. We're hiding behind sub judice as a legal concept. And the court said, no, not in all cases. So I'm trying to say, Chair, maybe that judgment of court is not subject for this discussion for this meeting. But I'm raising this because it has been raised in this session so that we understand exactly the framework and our role as far as that judgment is concerned. Thanks, Chair.
Well, thank you, Honorable Kaka. I think there are extensive, case laws around the issue of sub judice in relation to parliamentary waylay him unprepared. Yeah. Honorable Maseko.
Chair, I was raising on that so that I can indicate that when we talk about the issue that is a case that is sub judice, when it's at the court of law, because that it becomes sub judice so that the engagement doesn't influence the outcome. So here we are still in the progress of we want the report of the investigation. It will be sub judice if now they're done with the investigation, goes to court, is then that it will be sub judice. It's the same principle of when we say the president have to sign for the SIU to be involved in the investigation. We will call them to come and give us the report, but immediately when they are done with the investigation, goes to court, that's when now we cannot engage because we don't want to influence the outcome of that specific case. So for now, we are still getting the progress of the case as they do the investigation. I just wanted to make that clarity. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Maseko. General and the DM.
Proceed, General.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I will actually start with the question of Honorable Adams. And I think it spoke to the issue of cybercrime. Maybe start by explaining that both the SAPS as well as the DPCI have got cybercrime investigation components. But as per the Act, the SAPS will deal with your cybercrime, that is from level 1 to level 2. Unfortunately, I won't have the liberty to take you through all the OLA processes. But then the DPCI deals with serious cybercrime. So if a docket is deemed to be within the mandate of the detectives, then it is, I think we register the case under detectives. But if it is level 3 to level 5, then it is allocated to DPCI. This is not only on cybercrime, but also on organized crime, commercial crime, and anti-corruption. So you will see DPCI will take cases that are over 2 million, like they are dealing with the 41 million. We will do anything that is less than 2 million. But again, we have collaboration, honorable members. We collaborate where, for example, we need skills within the DPCI that will aid the detectives. We then borrow from the DPCI, and they will also assist the detectives in this regard. But in this specific one, the issue here is there was an attempt or a suspicion of an attempt. However, as they employed a private service provider, there was no breach that could be detected. we didn't just leave it there as the police. I think based on the fact that there was an issue of a ransom demand that was put into the case. Hence, the case was moved from the station, Alexandra Road. Now it is lying at a provincial office under the command of General Gopal, who's the acting DPC for crime detection. That's how serious we take this case. So for us, it's not a case that is now put in abeyance or it is closed. It is still under investigation as we are reviewing the case to look at the elements of crime that we can detect in line with our newly proclaimed Cybercrime Act. I think the other question was in relation to the issue of the board members. We all appreciate the difficulties and the challenges that actually that we can detect in line with our newly proclaimed Cybercrime Act. I think the other question was in relation to the issue of the board members. We all appreciate the difficulties and the challenges that actually the board members were removed. However, I wanted to request to this House that we proceed with the investigation, whether with the suspects or with the witnesses, and that when we, as Honorable Maseko said, that when we actually now are able to place the docket on the roll, I think we can give a further report. What becomes difficult is that whatever we can say here, it is public and it can be quoted at any given time in the legal process. So if, for example, I make a mistake through my assertion on the investigation, the defense of those people will use this meeting and what the police said is in this meeting to actually downplay the case of the complainant or even the state's case on Ingonyama Trust. We are not maybe Honorable Mkhakha looking at the issue of the limitations of what can be divulged or not divulged, but because it's an investigation that is currently ongoing, the most difficulty will be if one wrong assertion is made, that can actually kill all the three cases that we have. So we also have to move with caution. Hence, when we give you a briefing, it is giving you generic progress, not necessarily specifics. And maybe where, for example, we have not done justice, this House can still call us back to say we need, or even in writing, Chairperson, to say, can we be given the following information in writing? And that can be done. I think the issue of the SIU was spoken to. If we look at the cases, or actually the scenario within your Ingonyama Trust, within the trust itself, and I think this House is taking the lead, there's corrective action, then there's criminal matters. The corrective action is now will be dealt with the SIU and other like-minded bodies, but we are focusing on criminal matters. The issue with criminal matters, Honorable Matthias as well as Honorable Petama, is that at the end of the day, you have to make arrests. But the issue we have is making arrests before you complete your investigation, because definitely you'll end up with people now being out there. I think we've seen a number of those where people were arrested before we conclude the investigation, then they go to court and they are released, and it's difficult to get them back on court. We even saw some of the cases on the state capture. So our drive by pursuing this investigation is to definitely serve justice to those who are victims, who lost money, and that can only be done through arrests. And definitely you need witnesses. You need people who can actually strengthen your case. That's why one of the members who was previously a director here is mentioned, because he holds the key to actually the bulk of what could lead to a conviction in this particular case. So I'm not sure if I covered all the questions, but Chairperson, I tried. If we haven't, I think we are also willing to respond in writing to some of the questions that have been raised by honorable members. Thank you, Chair. I submit.
Thank you, General. Honorable Isaac.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to actually state it that, in fact, in terms of the SCOPS kit and donor, we, myself, I don't comply with it, and I think we must tell Honorable Matthias, in spite of the fact that in the past we have been going through SCOPS kit and donor, we are now trying to have a human rights culture wherein which we will never beat someone up to arrest him.
So honorable member, you are opposed to donor skit and scope skit and donor. Honorable Nyambos.
I'm just trying to find a way how we could also assist this SAPS to say there's another missing link in what you're investigating. There is a reserve bank account which Ingonyama Trust used to have, or still having. Real deal is that account, because in that account there's money flows, and those money flows are not coming to the current leadership. So which means if, as you will be done with your 41 million investigation, and probably you'll make even success arrest, but you would have not made a dent in achieving the real crime, which is potentially investigatable. Why? There is an account where there is money flows, and there's bigger money than the ones we are pursuing. So that's why I want, how do we attach, as you are investigating based on the case open, there's a case that is not open on this account, and you don't even know about it. And as you are still struggling to find these people, on the account transactions are moving on. But here's a point why I'm raising this part. Police, and I'm happy that the Deputy Minister is here. We always use the term corruption, but the reference is made to the originator of corruption, and in most of the cases, it would be an obvious suspect if it's a public sector issue. But when you are found in possession of a property that is under investigation or stolen, you get arrested on the basis that this property is found in your custody. In terms of money, monies leave their departure position. They go into the banks. All these investigative monies, they all go into the bank. I've never seen banks being investigated to the point to say, we have found ABSA, FNB, Nedbank, and all of you, Standard Bank, you are criminals in terms of the monies that we have open cases of officials that we claim to be corrupt. But here's the biggest culprit, the one who hosts these monies. It is no subject of crime. And I wonder whether are we right in pursuing the law? Because for an individual man, you arrest him when he's found in possession of money. You say, yeah, you have money with you. What about the banks? You can see money flows, and you have cyber crimes now. So you can see this money went through the bank, or you went to the bank, you cashed it, and you bring it in a physical form.
Thank you, honorable member.
But no investigation.
Until such time you open a case against any of the banks you have mentioned, then the police
I think it has a potential. I think we will look into that. Thank you.
To investigate them.
Chair.
Thank you.
On a lighter note, I think Honorable Nyambos needs to appear before the ad hoc committee.
Yeah.
Yeah, he seems to have a lot of information. Yeah, he seems to know a lot. He will be of assistance to the ad hoc committee. On the general.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I would like to also follow up on Honorable Dr. Mahlat's question on collaboration, and probably we actually have strengthened our relationship with SARS. We had a meeting with them where we are also pursuing your high flyer targets. Your high flyer targets would be people who are obviously living outside of their means. And we are doing that also in collaboration with the NPA, FIC, as well as FAU, because we are also of the view that we need to begin to hit people where it hurts them the most, and that is their pocket. So I think the minister is leading that particular direction of the organization to say, when it comes to organized crime, let's really bring everybody on board, and where we cannot pursue criminal charges, let's look at, for example, your tax legislation transgressions, and let's look at where we can also, preserve assets or actually recover assets. So we are doing that. If we have information, as Honorable Tetwa is now alluding to, we can only act if they also or he does register a case as a complainant. Unfortunately, we don't actually go ourselves and open a case. We always are reactive, as you rightfully said earlier. We'll only react to information that we have based on your complaint. That will be in our A1 statement in our docket. Thank you so much, Chair. I submit.
Well, thank you, honourable members. I think we need to make progress now because we really are running out of time. Honourable Matlase?
No, thank you very much, Chairperson. General, as we both, me and you, are custodian of vetting, I want to check, when you do this collaboration, maybe from your side, the investigators have been vetted. But how do you ensure that through the collaboration, those from SAS, those from NPA, and other units in collaboration are actually being vetted? How do you ensure that? Chairperson, I submit.
General?
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, and I'm glad that he asked this question because he knows that this is my field of expertise. Vetting starts with an individual. When you are employed as a state, by the state as an investigator, as an analyst, it starts with you. The state can do what it can. We can give you a certificate that says you're security cleared, but it depends on whether you live up to that certificate. So the state currently is overwhelmed in relation to, I think even SSA, your vetting requests. So we need officers who are beyond reproach, not because the state says so, but because they know so. So in our collaboration, we look at people who are actually trustworthy, not because we assess them to be, but we know that when we give them a task, their focus will be to ensure that justice is served, whether to the victims or in service to the state. So unfortunately, we don't have capacity to vet everybody, whether it's within SARS or the NPA, FIC. All we can do is to make sure that whoever we deploy understands their mandate as sent by the state to be able to fulfill their obligation as outlined in the Constitution. That's basically to investigate crime as well as to combat crime. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, General. I'm sure members are taking keen interest in your job now, generally, than the specific issue of the Ingonyama Holdings. Maybe they would like to invite you again to just engage you on what you do on a daily basis. I thank you so much, Honorable Deputy Minister, and unless you would like to make some closing remarks on this particular matter.
No, Chair, except to appreciate and to thank you for giving us an opportunity to appear before you. And the questions that members raised, you can see that your members are not only about land, they are also schooled on policing matters. They raise very interesting questions. I thought we were having one page that we're presenting to you, but it ended up being a session, a thesis that we discussed. But this just shows the commitment that members have, and we really appreciate this engagement. Every time when we appear in committees, we come out having learned a bit, and it has happened here as well. We want to thank you for that, Chair, and we appreciate it a lot. And the questions that you asked us is of great help to us. They make us better, and wiser. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Honorable DM. Thank you, General, and your team. We just hope that after this engagement, you will actually appreciate the seriousness of the matters that you are actually handling right now, because we are custodians of a very pricey, commodity that is land. And the specific issues relating to Ingonyama Trust are very, very delicate, very serious, and they are urgent. As I speak, the minister is out in KZN on this very specific matter, and has actually been in and out of KwaZulu-Natal dealing with this particular matter. So it's very, very urgent. It's quite urgent and serious. So I just hope that very soon you will actually, because our interest is to hear that someone is behind bars. Because we want this 41 million rand. We want to know what happened to it. Because that is, that's people's money. And it can't just go, it cannot just be missing and suddenly it cannot be accounted for. No, when there are human beings that actually received that money and they are still alive. That is very important. On that note, I will then, what is that, CIPC to actually give us a presentation. Probably it could be of interest to the police as well to hear how the CIPC, because your investigation might end up, touching base with CIPC. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chair, and good morning to the Honourable Chair and Honourable members. And I also like to acknowledge the Deputy Minister of Police, Honourable Matale, and thank you for the opportunity. We have prepared a fairly short presentation, Chair, because the matters before us at the CIPC is more of a registry matter. Within the context and the mandate of the CIPC, the issue is quite straightforward. Just to say that we do see these type of matters on other companies on quite a regular basis, where there's internal disputes and the chopping and changing of directors. And therefore, we handle it within the confines and within the legal framework for which we work in. Just to put it in context, that CIPC, we are not a judicial body, we are a registry, as we all know. And when matters of a dispute of this nature arise, I'm so glad that we have the police to assist, and therefore they deal with it through that particular process. We also have an oversight body that looks out for the CIPC called the Companies Tribunal, which is contained within the Companies Act. So when there's matters such as these, they also take a forefront in dealing with the way those director disputes are therefore handled. We basically deal with documents that we have and that are submitted to us within a process that has been outlined within law, but we've also added additional measures in order for us to scrutinize the documents and to scrutinize the legality of those particular documents before us. In terms of law, there's a bona fide aspect of submission, but we do not rest on that, because we have seen that there is this issue about director amendments which are basically unlawful, and we see that within the confines of taking people on and putting them off, there is an aspect of fraud, and these type of fraud matters are therefore handled within the prescripts of the South African Police Service. And I think within their investigation, they probably would have seen some of these type of matters. That was just a brief introduction, because I'm going to hand over to my colleague, Mr. Nkotla. Mr. Nkotla is responsible within the CIPC for these matters. He's the head of the Director Amendment Department. He is also charged with the responsibility of ensuring that documents are scrutinized on the value for which they're placed, and therefore he also deals with the issue about when there is a complaint about the actual directorships, what is the process that we undertake within the CIPC in order for us to look at how do we amend the registry, because the integrity of the registry is the most important aspect of what we have. Without a proper registry, we would fail to exist, and therefore we take these type of complaints on a very serious basis. But also on the fact that sitting here today was quite informative in that we are seen to be dealing with large aspects of fraud, and therefore the chopping and changing of the register could be related to the fraudulent matters. So we definitely do take them extremely seriously. We will take you through the sequence of events, and Mr. Nkota will basically deal with that going forward. Thank you. Can you just put the mic on?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Commissioner, and greetings to Honorable Chair and to the members. So mine is just to give you a sequence of events, and that will be confined to the company, which is Ingonyama Holdings, P2I Ltd. So as CIPC, we are always caught in between ensuring that we address the issues of compliance and also to ensure that there is ease of doing business. And we had a lot of iterations in terms of changing our processes so that it is quicker, easy, and it is accessible to everyone. So the transactions that took place in the Ingonyama Holdings are the transactions that were done using OTP process, which is a process of accepting using your OTP or rejecting anything using an OTP. So on the 5th of February 2024, there was a transaction which we received to remove a director by the name of Sipho Jerome Ngwenya, which was initiated, this is the filer, a person that acted on behalf of the company, is Siadumisa Blessing Vilakazi. And based on this process, when you initiate the process, therefore what you also need to do is to ensure that as a filer, you confirm the application by submitting an OTP within 96 hours. And if you don't confirm the application, it won't go through the process. This was put in place because there were people that when there is an investigation, then they will come and say, I have never submitted this application, now I'm being investigated. Somebody might have got my credentials. So that is why now we send an OTP for a person to confirm that I am submitting this particular application. And also as part of this application, there was an appointment of 3 directors, which was also they were expected to submit the OTPs, and no OTPs were submitted, and the 96 hours lapsed, and then the application then was taken as being abandoned. That's what happened on the 5th of February. Then on the 12th of February, then there was a transaction that was initiated again by the same person, Siadumisa Blessing Vilakazi. Now, this application did not remove Jerome Sipho Ngwenya. Instead, it appointed 3 directors, which is Mabudu Israel Tembe, Linda Christobel Zama, and Palang Bokang Gaulise Molife. And this application, then all the OTPs were submitted within the 96 hours, and this application went through, it was successful. So these 3 directors were appointed on the 12th of February. Then on the 21st of February, the company invoked Regulation 168, which in a nutshell says a company may challenge any document that has been filed, and as part of the challenge, then the commission must remove in that particular transaction So that regulation then says when that the filing has been challenged, then it must be regarded as null and it must be removed from the register. So this is what happened on the 21st of February. Then there was a challenge which was submitted to say that the 3 people that were appointed on the 12th of February, we do not know as a board, we do not know how they were appointed, therefore they must be removed. Then that transaction was reversed. And then on the 12th of April, there was a new appointment of a director, which then was Mbuso David Madondo. The filer here was Kauripe John Modigo. And also this one was an OTP which was submitted on time and it was successful. Now, currently, we have the current directors, which are 3. It's Mr. Mbuso David Madondo.
Excuse me, can I be assisted? You know, the OTP, what does it stand for?
It's a one-time PIN.
One-time PIN?
Yeah,
oh,
it's
okay.
like when you do a transaction at the
Okay,
bank and then
yeah,
they send
yeah.
you to confirm that,
Okay.
yes, that's, yeah, sorry. Check. So we have Mbuso David Madondo, Sipho Jerome Wenya, and then also there is Bongingosi Lucas Mkwanazi. Now, the commissioner explained the issue of the regulatory framework and the verification that we do as CIPC, as he has highlighted also the importance of ensuring that we balance between the compliance resolution and also processing of these entities in order to ensure that there is ease of doing business and also these things are done within the timelines. I must also mention that on your opening remarks, Chair, you mentioned that there was a complaint that was filed with CIPC and you'd want to know what has happened. So in terms of Section 168, the Companies Act makes provision for anyone to initiate a complaint if they have grounds to believe that there was non-compliance with the Companies Act. And the complaint which was submitted, it was a complaint that says we have filed for the removal of directors and it was not done. And that was not non-compliance with the Act. It was based on the fact that the filer did not complete the transaction. So that matter was referred then to a unit that deals with risk and fraud to establish if there were any wrongdoing, and it was found there was none. And then it was brought to our unit to communicate, to say that you abandoned the transaction, hence it did not proceed. So that's where we are in terms of this enterprise. In terms of the discussion or engagements, we have communicated, as I've mentioned, what is the status in terms of Ingonyama Holdings. And we, as CIPC, we always engage if there are issues and try and advise, because also we're expected in terms of the Companies Act to ensure that issues of disputes, we arrange that they are dealt with in an appropriate forum, be it companies tribunal or people are referred to court. But the Act does not want us to be actively involved and take decisions on those matters, because we are not supposed to do that. And we always do these things timely. So that brings the end of my presentation. So we submit.
Chair, just a final comment from me is that that is the factual basis of where we are currently. I think that we have outlined who the directors are. We don't have any other complaints before us. The only complaint that we had was the issue regarding the directorships. There have never been any other complaints regarding matters beyond the scope for which we are legislated to look at. And that's where we currently are, Chair. This is the factual position that we have on the register of Ingonyama Holdings. Thank you very much, Chair. As I said, it's a short one.
Well, thank you, CIPC. Honourable members, may I recognize your hands for comments, inputs, and and questions. Honorable Adams, Honorable Adams, and Honorable Ngonyama. Who is that? Is it Nyambos? Honorable. Sen. Okay. May I please start with Honorable Ngonyama?
Thank you, Chair. You know, Chair, these matters of the Ingonyama Trust are very, very painful. But it seemed to me that the bottom line is that this holding is still hijacked. The name of the person that in the previous presentation implicated in the theft of files is now a member of the holdings. So the bottom line is that the Ingonyama Trust itself has lost control over the holdings. I think that is the conclusion that we must come to. And so these issues of the OTPs and so on are technical questions. We have a larger problem, and that larger problem has to be resolved. How is the Ingonyama Trust managing its affairs? Who is legitimately there? What are the powers of the king over the matters of both the trust and the holdings? Right now, it is clear to me that the king does not have a hold and legal rights to determine things, and people do as they wish. There's a clear name that is appearing over and over again, Dadungwen. This man is treating the trust and the holding as his personal fiefdom. And doesn't seem to me that we have any mechanism to hold him accountable. How is he still a member of the holding, despite the fact that there have been these attempts to remove him? And where is the final authority? Who determines these things? Because it seems to me that it's a free-for-all, and if you have a mechanism to manipulate the system, you can stay in there. Monies are implicated, being lost. So, Chair, I think that we need a comprehensive answer to all these problems. And that has got to do with clearing who has the final say in terms of the Ingonyama Trust, in terms of the holdings itself, and what is the process to appoint and remove people, and whom, you know, the king is a symbolic figure in all this, it seems to me. Because if there was a place where the buck stops at, we will all be able to say, you are responsible for this management in terms of running of the affairs of this thing and the finances. Right now, Ingonyama Trust is just an ongoing crisis point. I don't know, Chair, if we must wait for the ministerial processes because the minister is involved, whether that process is going to find the final answer. But we are going to be sitting here next year still discussing the crisis of the Ingonyama Trust. I can assure you that. We need an extraordinary intervention, Chair. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Honorable Member. Indeed, it is true that we are dealing with a protracted problem here, and it would actually need extraordinary interventions, and which I hope the Minister is engaged with right now. And that is why we actually activated interventions in all fronts, like the involvement of the police, the involvement of CIPC, because there are a lot of things involved in this. So if there is criminality, let the police deal with that. If there is confusion around the registration of companies, let CIPC deal with that, so that at the end we have a complete picture of what is actually going on, who is who in this zoo, and then we then chart the way forward. The Honorable Honorable Mkhaga.
Thanks, Chair. Hey. Chair, let's welcome the report. Too summarized. Well, I thought the historical background of this holding is important for this meeting, so that we're able to imagine the relationship between this ITB and its holding. What do you understand to be the relationship between the two offices? Was our understanding that you were formed, this holding was formed by Ingonyama Trust. Now, it doesn't come clear as to define the powers that are involved. That's one. Two, Chair, the act regulating this entity. Well, I think it's important that you operate as per the act, and you're not quoting any act here that regulates the operations of this entity, so that as the portfolio committee, we understand the scope of your operation as far as this is concerned. Perhaps talk to the act, because that will tell us where do you account. The whole notion of you drawing mandates and accountability was Ingonyama Trust comes time and again here and is audited. And its audit is incomplete because its investment arm is nowhere to be found. And this is exactly why I'm talking about the act. Which act are you following in terms of both drawing the mandate and accountability of this symbol? The third one, Chair, is in relation to when last have you met Ingonyama Trust as a holding? When was your last meeting? The holding and Ingonyama Trust, when was your last meeting? Where are your offices? Where are your offices?
Honorable Mkhaga, I think honorable members should remember that the Ingonyama Holding representatives are not here. So we are dealing with CIPC for now, which is
No, but even then, the historic background becomes important, so that your entry point tells us exactly your role that you are playing in the whole spectrum around this particular issue. Maybe I must jump other questions. But in terms of your own understanding.
Honorable Chair, maybe Honorable Mahlatsi should have called Uba. To order, because it was completely out of order. But it's like he specializes on
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I'll have one question just on accountability and corporate governance. I want to establish that, did the CIPC uncover any unauthorized use of company registration system, such as fraudulent OTP submission or false identities? And 3 questions on security and verification system. How does the CIPC ensure that OTP system is not exploited in corporate hijackings, especially in entities linked to public assets? The second question is, what additional verification measures, such as your biometrics or in-person validation, that have been considered for high-risk entities? My last question. Has the CIPC conducted a post-incident audit of all filings related to Ingonyama Holdings since 2024 to verify authenticity? Chairperson, I submit.
Thank you, honorable members. Over to the CIPC. Sorry, I'm very sorry, honorable. Isaac, you have the floor.
But there is, okay. I took it that Chairperson haven't seen my hand before. I'm sorry about that then. But Chair, I just have a general question that I want to ask. And it is in terms of how the CIPC is dealing with the issue of registration of is it directors? Because in this instance, or the report under review, there is different persons that are attempting to change directors of the specific entity. So what I'm not clear of is that in any instance where an entity is supposed to be making additions or any changes to the original detail of registration, there should be a responsible or an accounting person. And in this instance, it seems as if it was just a free-for-all. Now, I generally just want to understand, in dealing with an entity, are we not supposed to have an accounting person or a responsible person that will be the person that we will revert to in terms of issues of challenges, or where there is maybe omissions or submissions, what is happening? Because I'm a bit confused what is going on here, because I see there is a Bonging Kosi with my former surname as a name there, Lucas, and then there is someone that tried to remove Ngwenya, and there is that. What I don't understand is that what does the rules or what does the processes of CIPC determine as to how do you go around with this? I'm not asking about your role. I'm not asking about your authority. What I'm asking is the process. And I want to understand how it happens that in terms of Ingonyama Trust, it seems to be a free-for-all. Thank you.
Well, thank you, honorable members. And over to you, CIPC.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I just want to take my notes quickly. I will start with the Honorable Adams. The first question was about specifics in the MOI. We certainly can supply this committee with the MOI. The MOI is a very large document. It's the Memorandum of Incorporation. And you asked the question surrounding that, what is contained within the document. I will definitely not be able to know what's in the document, unfortunately. There's 3 million entities. They have varying MOIs, but I can supply the MOI to the committee. We will make that a note as part of written reply. As far as the shareholding and the local standard, I think I did mention that the shareholding to trust, right? Ingonyama Trust is the shareholding. So whoever the trustees are, they will have that particular local standard that you are particularly mentioning regarding that. Have they supplied us with audited financial statements? Once again, I need to check my records. They should definitely have supplied us with some sort of financial information, and whatever we have on file, we also can supply the committee. So we supply the MOI. These are all documents at my disposal, so I can supply the committee with these particular documents. And I think the last question is, who are you accounting to? Are you referring to the CIPC? Our portfolio committee is Trade, Industry and Competition. And Trade, Industry and Competition is my portfolio committee. And my boss is Minister Parkstown, Minister Town. We're part of the group of entities within the DTIC family. As far as I think I've answered Honourable Member Mukaka. I think the issue was about the historical background, and I think we will be able to supply that as to when it was registered, who was the regional directors, up until where we find ourselves now. That is all information that I have on my register, and I certainly can give a full account of that. Some of the other questions, unfortunately, can't answer because it doesn't fall within my mandate. Was, for example, you said when was the last meeting of the trust and the Ingonyama Holdings? It's not within my mandate. I have no idea when they met. They don't supply us with such information as to when their meetings are. I think that is the responsibility of the shareholding, and therefore it's something that we call shareholder activism. They need to be responsible for the actual meetings, and they need to be responsible for what is contained within those particular meetings. The Companies Act just tells you what must be discussed at these meetings, but the actual meetings must be, it's within the purview of the shareholding. And therefore, I agree with one of the honourable members to say that you need, one of the parts of the interrogation of this committee is definitely the interrogation of the shareholder, which is the trust. The trust is vital to this, to me, to this dispute that's currently running. Regarding, I think it was Honourable Matlatsi who spoke about accountability. Unauthorized submission of OTPs. Look, we've put an additional process in place. If you look at the Companies Act, and I'm quoting pure law now, the Companies Act says that the CIPC is the register that must place within its register documents that meet specific requirements within its register. That's all it says. So we work on a bona fide system, but we have taken that bona fide system and we've added additional requirements that are not in law. We've added additional verification requirements, and I'll give you some of these verification requirements, and some of it might also answer some of Honourable Isaacs' questions. All right, so the additional verification we have, for example, is that we have a direct link to Home Affairs. So every single director on our database, and every incorporator on our database, and every customer on my database has to be verified by the Department of Home Affairs. We have a direct link. So you submit us the information, we see if this information ties up, and basically we will then verify you, authenticate you, and place you within the system of changes. So when you come to the issue of OTPs, once we verify you, you supply us with your cell phone number and stuff. I do take this into account. Can't verify cell phone numbers. We've tried this in the past. I've contacted all the big cell phone companies, MTN, Vodacom, and they refused to give us. They said, tell me when law must I give you this information. It's contained within different pieces of legislation. And if the portfolio committee can help us to cross the bridge, I'm more than happy to take that on board. But then we look at the verification of the person. And only certain people are allowed to make changes, not everybody. You have to be within the company or authorized by the company. So we ask you for authorizing documents when you want to make those changes. So that's the reason why we say, and this is 99.9% of the issues that we see at the CIPC, this is an internal dispute. All these people know each other. That's what we see. We never see externals coming in and changing stuff. That is called company hijacking, right? And we have not seen company hijacking how many years, Viviani? More than 15 years. A company hijacking, the way that it is defined is that when somebody from the external comes in and takes over a company, it's somebody that's unknown to anybody. And the last time we saw this was in 2008 or 9 or something like that, where, Coca-Cola and Sun Systems. We've never seen it. That's why we put in these additional steps and checks in place, and we question the documentation when we see that there's something wrong. We reject a multitude of documents that do not meet our legislative requirements. And we've put digitized verification also as part on top of the layer in order for us to make sure that this is done. But if you know me and I know you, like these people know each other. That's what we see all the time. They know me. We sit in boards, we have a fight amongst each other. You know my ID because we're all part of a file. They do these things. And that's what we see. Okay? And we do not have the means to know that this is happening. We have to take what's in front of us. Because sometimes what happens, this is something that we also see, and that goes back to the independence of the CIPC. How do I know? I'm not a legislative law enforcement body. I'm a regulator, right? How do I know that Vianney is right and Honorable Matlati is wrong? I don't know that. You could be fighting amongst each other in terms of a board. I don't know. So we have to be independent when it comes to how do we adjudicate on these matters. And the only way that we can be independent by using the law. The law says, take the matter, and if there is a problem, there's a process called 168, reverse it. And when this reversal happens, Chair, and we see this, we also see ding-dong. We call it ding-dong because you take me off, I take you off, you take me off, I take you off. We see this type of thing happening because they understand how the legislative system works. When we get to that point, we put a complete stop on the register, and you must go to court. The court is the forum to adjudicate on it. I do not have the power to do so. I don't know who's right and who's wrong. So the court is the one. But we have put processes in place in order to make that ding-donging system quite difficult. That's why we say it's internal. People know each other. They know about these numbers, and that's where it is. So when it comes to additional verification, Honourable Mtlati, that is the additional verification that we put in place. Maybe Vianney can also add to it. He works very closely with this. But we never rest on our laurels. We're continuously trying to strengthen this environment because the biggest risk that we have at the CIPC is the amendment of directors. We see this all the time. The amendment of directors is the biggest risk. When people start having these type of disputes, the first thing they do is they take each other off. And we're trying to strengthen that. We've strengthened it used to OTPs, but some of it is being manipulated, and I do agree with that going forward. And I think, Honourable Isis, I think I've touched on your question also when it comes to how do we deal with this. These are internal, right? It's not a matter of the system not being used effectively. It's a matter of people manipulating the system in order for their own benefits. As I said, we've got what I call cross-triangulation. We make sure that you're verified using Department of Home Affairs. We have rejected many people because they give us information where the ID numbers are wrong. The whole issue of they can't. Oh, maybe I should explain this. The verification system is quite a difficult one to pass, Honourable Chair. We just don't take your number because that's easy. We ask you questions about your number. So, for example, if you want to change and we want to use it, so you'll submit documents with the ID number to say, I am going to change. We'll ask you a question, when were you married? Because Home Affairs has the information on the Home Affairs database. And only you will know it. We'll ask you stuff about your spouse.
I don't know what
No, we don't ask you one. We'll ask you. No, we'll ask you. We'll ask, when was your ID issued? What date was your ID issued? Maybe I'm educated. Those are the questions we ask at the CIPC. Only when you pass those questions do we change. Because those things are unique to me. I wasn't going to know that unless you're a very close friend of mine to know that I was married in such and such a date because I was at the wedding. Yeah? It's very difficult to know these questions, right? So it's just not looking at the ID and looking at the name. We ask additional questions on top of that. And you have to pass those questions in order for those changes to be made.
Say, what happens in a case where the shareholder instructs you to remove a particular board member in its own subsidiary, and then you remove that individual?
Yeah.
Then somehow he finds his or her way back into the board through you. I mean, what's going on there?
Well, sorry.
Perhaps could we take the question also of...
Chairperson, maybe just as a follow-up, I would have loved to know, so in your information, would there not be a specified, authorized person
yes,
that can do that? Because it seems as if I feel I can do it and I have the response to all these questions, then it's happening. That is the idea that I'm getting from your response. But shouldn't it be that in the whole system there should be say, this is the person that have authority to change, and that is where I want to get at.
Okay.
And also the issue of the OTP. Somewhere in your report, you actually mentioned that there was an OTP which actually was not responded.
Yeah.
But did you send it to the right person?
So,
That's a gray area.
yeah. So OTPs are sent to the numbers that we have on our registers. So you provide CIPC with the contact details that are belonging to you as a director. And therefore we'll send it to that number. And if that number has changed, we'll also give you an opportunity to change your number. And we also, again, send you a link to the old number and to the new number, so that if it is not you who has changed the number, you can reject. So the OTP, there is no way that we can send it to the number that we decide. We send it to the number that we have been provided with.
Is it not possible that the OTP number was sent to a person who was actually being removed from the Ingonyama Holding, board? Because listen here, the board chairperson of the Ingonyama Trust board was Judge Ngwenya, who, when he had issues with the ITB, then quickly became he was also the chairperson of the Ingonyama Holding board, and he was the subject for removal. Now, in the records of the ITB, he could still be reflected in your records as the chairperson of the ITB, to whom you sent the OTP. And that is why he could not respond to it, because it was talking about him. I would not have responded to. Yeah. Sorry, Honorable Masek.
Thank you very much. I just want to find out, that's a very huge responsibility, by the way, that you do have. Now, I want to find out, in this country, you get your cell phone being cloned, that you can send the OTP to a person that has cloned to achieve what whoever criminality is behaving, that they will achieve that. But do you have the random questions that you change, or it's specific, you are going to ask the date of the issue of the ID, that people get to know what are you going to ask and prepare for that as they clone? Or it's random, it will change from one transaction or one action to another on that specific CPA? Or how do you do the due diligence when you look at the cyber crime that is happening?
It's what is contained within the Department of Home Affairs database. So the Department of Home Affairs database of an individual only has certain data fields. Right, for example, if you've never been married, the Home Affairs doesn't have you as a married date. So we won't ask you when were you married, because it doesn't have that. So what we do is, the system works like this. It pings to Home Affairs, it sees what's contained within the individual's Home Affairs profile, and it asks you questions randomly, not all your whole Home Affairs thing, it asks you randomly about you, that is contained within the Department of Home Affairs, what is called the Home Affairs National Identification System. It can only ask you those questions.
Honorable Kletama.
Thanks, Chair. I just want to check who can initiate changes in terms of members. Is there no kind of resolution of the holding that must go with the individual?
Yeah. So probably to give a background will assist. Yeah. Anyone who transacts with CIPC is verified. Like it has been mentioned, we triangulate with the DHA. We check that information. However, it does not mean all the directors have been verified because they are not transacting with CIPC. So it is the person that transacts with CIPC. And now the question of whether do you have a specific individual, for an example, I know in terms of SARS, in terms of their law, there must be a person who's appointed as a public officer. In terms of the Companies Act, it is not there. However, we have, I think we have discussed with the commissioner this matter, if not last week, 2 weeks ago. I was saying we need to come up with a way, whether it is a practice note or regulation, whereby we say the company must appoint one person so that there is one individual that transacts. Now, we cannot limit the company in terms of whom they want to use. They can use this person now, and the person decides that he's moving provinces and then they get another one. There are a lot of companies that are assisting in terms of submitting documents. Now, as I've mentioned earlier on, we have moved from many iterations. Before, you just needed a revenue stamp, you just leak it and you put it on the form you submit. We did not even know where it came from. We'll process it. That's how the law was drafted. Even now, all that the law says is that the company must send a notice. So what is a notice? They are notifying CIPC that these are the changes that have taken place. So it is not something that CIPC will say, no, this did not happen or this happened. It is a notice. What CIPC does, looks at the requirements. Is it meeting the requirements of submission and also in terms of the law? Yes, then we process it. Hence, the law allows for the challenging of any document filed. And CIPC is not supposed to question why you're challenging, because it's a notice that is filed in terms of the company. Now, in terms of this enterprise, the removal of the director that is being removed does not receive an OTP, because now it will just then make the process futile, because all directors, they serve at the behest of shareholders. So what happened here is that the person who filed the application did not submit an OTP. And there is no way that it was sent to the wrong number, because the very same person, days later, submitted again and filed an OTP when he appointed the other 3 directors. So the question of removal is that the person who filed did not do the OTP. Hence, that removal was not successful. And it was not, like it was mentioned, not successful in law. It was abandoned by the filer. So we take that the person says, I don't want to proceed. So it fell. So that transaction of removal, it's a back office function. It comes to the back office. Now, when a director is appointed or the director is resigning, then notifies the company that I am resigning. And it's unilateral. I am the one who's resigning, and the company will resolve to note the resignation. Then the company is expected to file. So initially I said, as CIPC, when we receive now these appointments or resignation, we send OTPs. Now, in the past, not in the past, even currently, the OTPs are sent to the resigning director or the appointed director, the number, and then the person will send an OTP. If they don't send an OTP, the transaction will not go. Now, as part of the discussion, which also we had, we said probably we need to have 50% of other directors who are not involved in this appointment or resignation. They are not affected, but they are part of the company, to confirm also with OTPs. When we started, we wanted to put that, but companies like in stock exchange, they said we have a lot of directors. We don't have time for this. I think that's the challenge that CIPC has, is that there are certain directors that don't want to be involved in administrative things. And sometimes it is the challenge now when they are being appointed. They said to whoever that files, use your contact details. I don't have a problem. I'm paying you to do this thing. And then that is why then it may happen that at the end of the day, the filer is the one that receives these things. However, as we have mentioned, we verify who the filer is. That is why the filer must do an OTP, so that when there is a complaint, he can say, it is not me who has filed. When it comes to the issue of relationships, which means that this is the mother company, which is the holding company, and these are subsidiaries. When an enterprise is registered, there is no relationship when it comes to registration. All enterprises are registered as an enterprise. So you can't say this one belongs to this one and to that one. It is the shareholders that know that I have these subsidiaries that are under me. And now when they file what we call annual returns, that's when they file financial statements as well. So that it is a process that is done, because you cannot proceed with annual returns without having filed the financial statements, whether they are audited or they are supplements, but they have to file. So that has to be filed. And then in terms of the director amendments, as I've mentioned, if it is a removal, which requires that a board must sit and must make a resolution, it comes to the back office for the documents to be verified. So that one, it is not an OTP process. So it is an application that comes to the back office. But if a person is being appointed, that person has to accept appointment. And by accepting appointment, we'll send a letter. So the OTP is acceptance, whilst they're still following. So that when we do now an investigation or matters of compliance, we'll ask, provide us with the letter that the person accepted appointment. The company has to provide that.
Honorable members, let's now try to wind up our discussion. Is that Nyambos or Honorable Mkhacha and then Honorable Nyambos?
No, Chair, let's welcome the report. I think I've learned something about the registration now. Honorable members, you're correct to say I'm lost. I could detect from Honorable Ngwetama that he's lost too. We're in the same boat. We're in the same boat. No, Chair. The reason why, Chairperson, we got lost. I'm looking at my last summary, last meeting decision. In that meeting, we said today we are meeting the investment holding. We must meet the investment holding. And we said there would no need for ITB to come physically because of the financial that we have cited. But there might be conflict in our meeting and fail to manage it. Rather, we invite the holding so that we deal with that holding. And then on the basis of that, we connect virtually with the ITB. That's what I've recorded here in our last meeting. That's why I was sure that holding is part of this meeting. You get a point? I never prepared for CP, what? All my questions now are directed to holding, because that's exactly where we've got the problem. And then I could say that even the entity understands that. So that I'm not sure, Chair, where I got lost really. Well, that's my summary. That's my summary in terms of my notes in our last meeting, last week.
Well, thank you,
So, Chair, maybe as you get in, you may clarify that particular point, because really, now I came here to deal with that holding, because that holding has been in the wilderness for a long time. So we're fit to deal with that holding today.
Okay,
Now,
thank you, Honorable Mkhacha. The letter was actually circulated. It's in our gadgets some time ago from Mr. Ngwenya. It's in there where he actually was one tendering apology for not being able to attend this meeting, and but went on to present his case in writing. In fact, that is the reason why even this morning, before we started the meeting, we explained that, and I had actually indicated that time permitting would be able to even look at the letter that he actually wrote, because he's raising issues that we need to take a stand as a committee on the letter that he wrote as to the way forward. Now, honourable members, I think you will remember that when the ITB was here, you know, was it last week or the week after last? They were here to present a report, which report had already been circulated, but they did not present. If you look at that report and you actually, you know, compare it with what we are getting from the CIPC, there are discrepancies. And I feel that we would need to invite the board and invite the CIPC so that they tell us under one roof, all of us present, and be able to engage those discrepancies. Because I'm asking the issue of the OTP, because in their report, nobody received that. And there is a strong belief that the OTP landed in the hands of Mr. Mkwanazi and Mr. Ngwe. And therefore, they would not have responded to an OTP that actually seeks to actually put them at a disadvantage. Yeah. So perhaps they would do well, the CIPC, to actually, before that meeting, do a thorough investigation as to exactly where did that OTP go, so that when they are here together with the board, they should actually be able to clarify each other on that particular issue. Honorable Maseko.
Sure, I totally agree with you. I think what we need to do, but because of it, we are going in circles one way or another. On our own, if we can have a virtual to draw sort of a mind map of the presentations that we've been getting, because there is a lot of discrepancies, and check if we are going to call everybody under one roof, we also talk to the presentations that we were getting. So that mind map will make sure that everybody is here. And as we engage on the facts of the documents that were brought to us, and then we can get the answers without one saying that, I don't know, and then we can have the answer from the... So we need to do that on our own, the mind map, to identify who should we call to get that engagement and get it over with on clarity of the facts versus the bold and beautiful. Okay.
Thank you. CIPC, you have 5 minutes to wrap up.
Thank you, Chair. I actually do agree with you.
Oh, sorry. Is it Nyambos? Nyambos, you have just 1 minute, please.
Yes, I wanted to bring to your attention that based on CIPC's presentation, an OTP was sent to Uvilagazi. Uvilagazi is now the acting CEO. He was the CFO then. Now, I can confirm to say there is now a conflict of interest. Why would Vilagazi not respond in an OTP that removes Ngwenya? Because it is in their interest that Ngwenya is removed so that they can then have the new board members in the board be submitted here. But instead, Uvilagazi is still in the ITB, but he is the one who didn't respond according to your report. So which means there's already a conflict of interest in terms of why he is practicing ultra-variance. One, he's not acting according to his responsibility, which means he doesn't have an interest to have Ngwenya being removed based on evidence now that we are having. And two, I wanted to bring to your attention that in the royal house, there is a division. So what is happening, Ngwenya will have members in the royal house that he is associated with, in the same way also at ITB. As a result, that's why there is a clash. So I wanted to confirm to you as CIPC that you have been shaxed, if I can use that term. The OTP that you sent, it has landed in a wrong place, and we need now Vilakazi to be here to verify why he didn't respond to an OTP, and if he says anything, then you will know that it was the other parties. But otherwise, there is already a mess in the holding. I wanted to ask you this question. Do they submit the holdings? Are they submitting their annual reports? So that to check whether there is progress on their end, whilst the ITB board is not progressing, because then it will show you that there is a hijack of a company that is purported to be working with ITB, and yet holdings is going on another direction, ITB board is going on another direction. What reports are you getting to prove that the holding is continually, because if it does submit to you, it will then, the deduction and conclusion is that ITB board is involved because there are shareholders in there. So the question, we will know who is the culprit amongst the ITB board members, the holding members, and then the administrators, because there is a conflict in all of them. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Chair. Maybe before, through you, Chairman, before CIPC chips in, Ulwazi, who is the committee secretary, has circulated amongst us a screen grab of a live chat. Actually, this thing is being broadcast live on TV now, and there are people watching it. Amongst those people is the former CEO, Mr. Mkwagwe, who is arguing on the live chat that your presentation is inaccurate. And his assertions are supported by the current acting CEO, Vilakazi. And they are also requesting an opportunity, Chairman, to be in under one roof with you guys and SAPS. I just wanted to place that on record. Thank you.
Can I ask that we do not discuss that until we are under one roof? They are here and they are under one roof. Because if we were to allow that to be discussed, then it's going to linger on, with there would need to be a response from these people who are not in here. So let's actually hold our horses until we have this meeting where everyone will be in. Yeah, thanks a lot. Okay, guys, you have 3 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'll take 30
Thank
seconds.
you, Chair. No, I'll answer. We close up. I think we need to close up. So, Chair, I think that all these are very good points. I agree with the Chair and I agree with the multitude of members. I think the issue is that we must all be in one place so we can answer. Just to put the point and quickly to make the point that we're independent. I have no clue who these people are. I have no interest in this matter because I don't know who they are. All I'm doing is bringing to you the facts of what we received, what we have on the register, what has been questioned, what investigation took place, and what is the current factual representation of what is contained within that register. We can even bring my IT guy. I'm more than happy to bring him. They will tell you that this is when the OTPs were sent. These are the numbers that they were sent to, and these are the responses received to the OTP system from those numbers. So we're more than happy to sit through it. We're more than happy to thrash it out. And as I said, I've got no interest in the matter. I'm giving you facts. I don't know who Ingonyama Trust even is. It's just what is on my register. Thank you, Chair.
Well, thank you, CIPC. We just hope that we could actually, at some stage, be able to put this matter to rest, resolve that. because as you correctly pointed out, that Ingonyama Holding is actually the major or the sole shareholder is Ingonyama Trust Board. Now, if the Ingonyama Trust and the Ingonyama Trust Board it oversees the operations of the Ingonyama Holding. Ingonyama Trust is a public entity. There may be one sole trustee, which is the king, but he is actually holding the land in trust for the people. So that is why, as the state, we are involved, because we are also making some budgetary, provisions for the operations of Ingonyama Trust Board, and therefore we have a legitimate right to oversee what's going on in the board. Now, the board, in their wisdom, established Ingonyama Holding as a business arm of the board, and they actually gave them seed funding, 41 million rand, to start operating. Now I'm trying to explain to you the word hijacking where does it come from? Now suddenly the Ingonyama Holding, strangely cut off ties with the ITB. They are no longer reporting. They're refusing to pay back the money they do. That is why we have an interest as this committee to find out, because on behalf of the people, we need to know when this 41 million rand is going to be paid back. And secondly, the operations of the Ingonyama Holding. Actually, we still need to know what they are doing, because they are an offspring of the Ingonyama Trust Board. So that is where we come in, and we are not going to rest until we solve that problem. Yeah, so that is why we were seeking your assistance in actually getting to know what is going on here, because something very seriously wrong did take place, is taking place even now in the operations of the Ingonyama Holding. So thank you so much for coming. So you should await our invitation again, where we would actually meet under one roof with the Ingonyama Trust Board and thresh out some of the issues. I'm sure that would actually help to strengthen communication between the two of you, and also which must actually lead to resolving this matter once and for all. Thank you so much. You are excused.
Thank you very much, Chair, members. Appreciate it, sir.
Honorable members, with regard to the letter of Mr. Ngwenya, we actually had asked the legal services of Parliament to actually look into the letter and possibly advise on the legal route that we should actually take. Because it looks like Mr. Ngwenya is trying to close us off the operations of Ingonyama Holding. And he's actually saying that this is a private company. That is where I started hearing, I first heard this terminology of that concept of being a private company. But Mr. Ngwenya's using of that terminology is actually saying, this is my company, you guys have nothing to do with it. So that is why we then asked the legal services of Parliament to get involved to untangle some of the legal issues that are involved in the letter. I'm not sure whether you should read it all. But you've got the letter. So it is as it is. We feel that we are not going to abandon, this matter. We are still going to invite him to come, because he put a condition. He said he will not attend until there is finality in court on this matter. So we don't know when the court is going to finalize this matter. We also, secondly, trying to do due diligence, which must ultimately end up with us summoning him, or subpoenaing him here to appear here. So we are looking at all of those options, with the assistance, of course, of the legal services of Parliament, because we must actually get Mr. Ngwenya and his board before us here. Yeah. Yes, Honorable Mkhache.
No, Chair, I welcome your explanation. I was one person who was reluctant to invite all these entities under one roof in our last meeting. But I think this time around, Chair, without wasting our time as portfolio committee, there might be a need to invite all of them under one roof and manage that situation, including this investment holding, CI in London, Nale ITB, under one roof. Otherwise, we're going to prolong an unnecessary process. Because now it's going to be you and them, us and them. To avoid that situation, put them under one roof and then deal with that situation. Whether they will come in turns, but let's invite them and deal with this thing once and for all. We're empowered now in terms of registration processes. At least there's a bit of understanding how they respond. But there's a critical question here. Who is who between this holding and ITB? Here I hear something new today. No. In fact, ITB is a shareholder of us. Something that so I'm saying that meeting becomes important now. Let's invite all of them under one roof at an appropriate time so that we deal with this question once and for all. Otherwise, we'll be wasting time, Chair, meeting here time and again, focusing on one thing.
Thank you, Honorable Mkhache. I think there is sufficient agreement on that we invite all of this, except, of course, for the fact that for now, we are still exploring, some other avenues to get Mr. Ngwenya here, because he said he would not be happy to appear before us before the court finalizes matters that are before court right now. So he has actually put that condition. So that is why we are exploring, alternatives through the legal services. Because if legal services says we can actually subpoena him, then we will do that in order for him to be part of the meeting that honorable members are talking about. Honorable Matthias.
Against time, Honorable Chair, will advise us. But if we've got about 10 minutes of your time, because Parliament Legal Office is here, and we have received the letter, we've gone through it. But it's good if we get it from the horse's mouth, than just to have him here and he leaves. Let's get it from the horse's mouth, because what is written may not be the same as what will be explained. So maybe you can allow 5 minutes of your time, Chair.
Well, thank you. I will allow him, but I was under the impression that they told us that they were not ready. I don't know, but they can comment.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Indeed, that is correct. We're still working on the legal opinion. We have received the letter from Mr. Ben, and we have familiarized ourselves with the contents, specifically on the reasons stipulated by Mr. Ngwenya for his inability to come and appear before the committee, citing the fact that there is a pending litigation matter that he can only avail himself after that matter has been finalized. So we are going to be working on that, also to cover the question that was raised by Honorable Member Honorable Makhaha, where he actually stated that there is a case law relating to this interpretation of sub judice rule. And indeed, there is such a case where the court has interpreted the Rule 89 of the NA rules to actually allow the National Assembly to hold anyone accountable. It actually explains that Rule 89 does not preclude the members of Parliament from holding any person accountable to it. So that will also be incorporated in our legal opinion that we'll deliver to the committee. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Legal Services. So, honourable members, we have now minutes of the meeting of the 29th October, which we need to adopt, and they were also circulated. Is there any hand, Honourable Adams?
Chairperson, the agenda that we adopt, there's no minutes to adopt on that agenda.
On the notice.
Okay, on the notice. Yeah. Yeah, we can do it now.
Are you proposing adoption, Madam?
Yes, Chair.
Oh, thank you, Honourable Member. Who is actually adopting or seconding?
Member Mlindi Nana.
Have a spokesperson.
Oh, okay. Honourable Maseko is seconding. Thank you, Honourable Members. You can see that some of our structures of government are actually not playing the ball as we would actually expect. I didn't expect that the police would actually come here to tell us that after 8 months, there are still no clues. It's very disappointing. Honourable Masek.
Thank you very much. On the point of privilege, Chair, and your indulgence, I would love to bring an issue of the District 6 restitution. And I've passed then, I'm in this province, I've seen the department is still busy with that, and I did ask the question, they said they needed the money for that, but there is an informal settlement that is happening there on the restitution. My concern is that it's going to be the cost to the department also with the all litigation of they have to remove those people and do this and that. So can we see if we can slot to have an urgent meeting if we have time to engage about that? You can see the plans of the department, the completeness of, especially those who are waiting for their housing, because there are all people that are waiting to can be beneficiaries, to can go back to where they were removed, and that is not happening. I will appreciate if the committee can consider that, please. Thank you, Chair.
If my memory serves me well, I think at some point we discussed the issue of the District 6. And then there was a suggestion that this committee should actually go there. If my memory serves me well, I seem to remember that we actually, in principle, agreed to actually visit that place, specifically to monitor progress and and also interact with some of the people. In fact, that arose from the Solomon's case. There was a case of the Solomon's family from that area. I don't know, honourable members, we are very tight on our schedule as this committee. Perhaps we could see one Wednesday because we are talking about an area which is a stone throw away from where we are. We could, you know, dedicate some few hours for us to go there and interact with the people and interact with the department to tell us exactly why things are happening and not happening in the way we are expecting them to. And then come back here. I don't know. But Honorable Masek.
Thank you. If we can also invite the province and the city, because the question that I have asked in the department recently, they said there is an alleged commitment from both spheres of government, so that we can hear what is their part, and then maybe that will give a broader scope of that coming to a conclusion, Chair.
Maybe we could actually consider inviting them, perhaps, rather than going there. I don't know. Because going out there might involve a lot of red tape and things. And, maybe we could find a way of slotting in that issue and invite the stakeholders. I'm not sure whether it would be possible this year, because now, by the look of things, we are only left with 4 Wednesdays before the end of the year, and end of this term, and Parliament rises. Perhaps the first thing when we come back, we could actually, in the next quarter, then we prioritize that. Yeah. Well, thank you, honorable members. I'm sure the management that will look at that. Well, the secretary is talking about our oversight visit. We are still waiting for the response from the House chairperson. Yeah, the Parliament's program is Steer My Car. Yeah, it's Mrs. Adams. We are always in the bus, and then we speak a lot of Africans. Yeah, but I will be getting in touch with the House chairperson very, very soon to see to discuss the way forward, because we need to go. We need to go this term. We will need to go. Okay, that actually brings our meeting to the end. The meeting is adjourned, honorable members. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you. Bye, dankie. Meneer Boshoff. And next year, if I can make this announcement, next year, during the first quarter, we will actually visit Oranje. And Dr. Boshoff is too keen to welcome us there. Yeah. No, it's not at all.